Good evening, I am Adventure Argonaut. This is the golden news, the news to bring you the blues. And it's the second newscast of the year, right? And just checking the streams, everything is functioning. Still in Twitter jail, so can't stream on Twitter, but not gonna do that for long anyways. Because gonna cancel my freaking subscription, but I can complain about Twitter a bit later. Let's get to more pressing news first. But yeah, we are here, we are looking at the news, so let's get this one. So the first one is of course Minnesota ice deep dive, the woman shot by the ICE officer, and we got quite a lot of tabs to go through, so let's get to it. So of course everybody's probably seen some version of this story. There's of course many angles and many opinions on this. Well, I guess basically one or two. Either they say that the shooter was acting in self-defense, or they don't. And well, I'm gonna say that he wasn't acting in self-defense. So let's see what Mario here says. I grew up under communism in Poland. I know exactly what state harassment looks like. What I saw in Minneapolis was not law enforcement. It was intimidation, escalation, panic of unqualified law enforcement, then murder. They surrounded a woman. She tried to leave. She backed away so she would not hit anyone. They shot her anyway, and now they lie. That is how police states work. Start the chaos, kill, rewrite the story. This never ends. This was a murder. At least it was very incompetent on the part of the police or the ICE officers. I don't know if you can call ICE police. So you can see the front left wheel turning. It was not targeting the ICE agent. Yeah, I'm not gonna go deep into all these details. People have looked like, because like the interesting part is that, like, half of the people on the internet look at the same video and say like it was clearly self-defense on part of the officer, and the other half says it wasn't. And it's just interesting how like people can look at the same video and come to the exact opposite conclusion. And here's Donald Trump, what he said on it. I have just viewed a clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it's hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. So I guess, and Kim.com says lies, and I guess the main lie is here that it's hard to believe he's alive, because like if he was hurt at all, he seems to be very lightly hurt. So the Officer Lou, not Officer Ju, says she gets ordered out of the car. She refuses. She backs up. Then she drives forward, straight into the ICE agent. The agent draws his gun only when her vehicle starts moving forward toward his body. Self-defense, case closed. So there's, an opposite view on the matter. But we will get to why I don't think it's self-defense, that he was certainly not justified in shooting the woman. So yeah, he doesn't look hospitalized to me. So this is supposedly the guy after... shortly after the shooting, the shooter guy, Jonathan Ross, I think his name was. Genghis Khan here says, I'm praying for this ICE agent tonight. The most shocking part for me is how he's clearly fighting for his life in this in this video moments after being nearly flatlined by that homicidal maniac lesbian. Look at the shocking life-threatening injuries which put him in hospital. Yeah, he's being sarcastic, of course. I've noticed that a lot of people don't seem to understand sarcasm on the internet, and certainly I didn't read that in the most sarcastic manner. So, hello. Right, now we are moving again. I guess I should start closing the tabs after I go through them. So here Korobochka says J.D. Vance needs to be impeached because he was saying that, well, basically supporting the shooter. So use of deadly force and prohibited restraint technique. So if assuming that this is like accurate instructions for law enforcement or ICE in particular, it does seem. So let's see. Deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. So yeah, that's not a reason to shoot her. Firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. So yeah, she wasn't threatening anybody with deadly force by any other by other means than the vehicle, and the vehicle is operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury to the officer or others, and no other objectively reasonable means of defense appear to exist, which includes moving out of the path of the vehicle. He could have easily done that. Like, that's the main issue. Like, I haven't watched like, 70 hours of different videos, but I've watched, video from many different angles and stuff. And like the issue for me is that the ICE officer has no business being in front of the vehicle, and like all the officers around, they don't really seem to know what they're doing. Like, are they just supposed to let the woman go or arrest her or what? And like, certainly I do think the woman, she does sort of bump the guy with the car, so that's, you could charge her with reckless driving, but that's not grounds for executing her. And the, law enforcement officers are not supposed to, I think they are instructed not to stand in front or behind vehicles that are, because things like they might get run over. That's smart, in, like, advice, right? Because to prevent events such as this, like, police officers and law enforcement officers are not supposed to look for any excuse to shoot a suspect or a potential suspect or perpetrator or whatever word you want to use. So the worst thing for me is watching people make excuses for this summary execution. The fat fuck was never in danger. He murdered her because she bumped into him harmlessly, at most at 5 kilometers per hour in her panic to escape amid contradictory instructions. So yeah, it's just the first shot. So the wheel is already turning away from the officer, and the officer is sort of standing out of the way of the car. So, certainly the car could have bumped him and given him a small injury. Like, that is reckless driving, probably. So you could, if she was alive, maybe you should arrest her for something like that, but you shouldn't shoot her. And yeah, the second shot, and yeah, this guy shot her 3 times, like, and headshot. I think, well, were all of them headshots. So yeah, like, 3 times. She wasn't armed or anything. She wasn't aiming. She was turning away. He had no, like, one shot you could at least try to excuse, but it was 3 shots. and look where he's so far away, and still, like, he was clearly, it was a, personal emotional response. He felt, I guess, annoyed, insulted, whatever, by the woman, which, perhaps he had cause to do so, but I don't think that's cause to shoot somebody, especially like if he's a law enforcement officer. It says police here. You're not supposed to shoot people simply because, they're being rude to you. That, like, at least not in America, based on all the propaganda I've seen over the decades that I've watched American media. So yeah. So somebody Veritas here asks, honest question: Are cops trained to stand in front of cars, or? And hopeful N7 says they are not supposed to fire into a moving vehicle because of the risk that creates. Not supposed to walk up in front of or behind a vehicle. Officer Ross ignored every DHS SOP when he murdered Renee Nicole Hill. Or she's also called Renee Nicole Good, I guess, because she's married to her lesbian wife or something. He put herself in the situation he claims threatened him. Yeah, exactly. So the officers are prohibited from discharging firearms solely to disable moving vehicles. Though the law enforcement officers are prohibited from discharging firearms at the operator of a moving vehicle. Before using deadly force under these circumstances, the law enforcement officer must take into consideration the hazards that may be posed to law enforcement and innocent bystanders by an out of control conveyance. Yeah, because I think it hit another car that was parked, so it could have, hit somebody there. I guess they were lucky that there was nobody else who got injured. Fleeing subjects. Deadly force shall not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing subject, especially since she wasn't like a, rapist or a serial killer. I, I would, if there was really good cause to suspect that she was like a serial killer, then yeah, I'd be more lenient and like, if shooting somebody. But she, whatever her crime was, she wasn't something like that. Officers agents should avoid standing directly in front or behind subject vehicle. Officer agents should not place themselves in the path of a moving vehicle. Yes, like exactly like lots of people who saw the video and just they sort of assume that they just spawned there, like it was a video game, like, the stage starts here and oh my god, he's in front of the car and the car is coming straight for him, so uh, he, he has to defend himself, but like he wasn't born there. He's the one who went there in front of the car. She didn't drive the car to, threaten him or anything originally. um, but so here Korobochka, who's become very anti-American because of this incident, says, I have nothing but deep sympathy for the remaining sane people in the United States of America. I don't know what it's a reference to, maybe some anime. This guy gets it and doesn't need to be hazed out of it. Imagine celebrating the death of a white mother to score political points for a team that's not on your side. So something is genuinely wrong with Oren McIntyre post Charlie Kirk FAQs. The ice cop inappropriately got in front of the car, and then instead of jumping out of the way, which he easily did accomplish, he feels compelled to adrenaline murder a white soccer mom. I could see not hitting him with a murder charge, but good God, he fucked up. Exactly. Like at at best, it's incompetence. Like this could have, like, let's assume that she was a criminal who had murderous intent. Like it could have been handled so much better, regardless of whatever. Like anyway, if you want to play into this narrative that the left is out to violently kill us, first Israel killed Charlie Kirk Exactly, like, Nick Fuentes, can you listen? Obviously. Second, we are not America. America is controlled by Israel for Jewish benefit. You are all in complete denial about who us is when it comes to power. I honestly feel the problem is you people are in denial about how fucked things are and how late in the game we are. The battle with the left is the least of your concerns, and they are a cutout enemy anyway. You imagine there's a fantasy United States that's secretly and magically conservative with a functional economy and just foreign policy. That doesn't exist. Your cope is, I think, the reason behind the absolute rage you're experiencing right now. You're like a pudgy fanboys of Zack Snyder that just can't let it go. You're at the point of salivating over the death of a white soccer mom because meh owned the libs. Yeah. Trump obviously shit the bed, but you all came back because he overthrew a dictator for Israel's oil empire. Really? And now this? You all are all fucking lost, and the harder you hit on this dead soccer mom, the more dead MAGA and the right generally will become. This is an intervention. Yeah, the right is retarded right now. Exactly. Like one reason why occasionally I do, even though you could call my political beliefs to be somewhat generally right leaning, but I don't identify as a right winger, and this is one reason. Nor do I identify as a centrist. I think the left right paradigm is completely retarded, and this is one reason because both the left and the right are psychotic, as can be seen here. And here, Korobochka says that ICE did the exact same maneuver minutes earlier against the crowd, but far more dangerously. So here they are pushing against some protesters. Meanwhile, the ballistics proved the ice animal wasn't in danger. MAGA rats are so fucked. Yeah, so I think they, according to ice logic, these guys have the right to shoot the driver of this car. Have ICE agents trained in Israel and been sent to Israel on a trip organized by the ADL, Grok. So Anomaly here asks. And Grok says, yes, records show ICE officials such as Peter Edge, the executive associate director, attended an ADL organized counterterrorism seminar in Israel in 2015. So this is even before Trump was in office, right? The ADL describes these as educational programs on extremism and security, not tactical training. Critics argue they involve sharing political policing practices. Similar programs have continued through specific recent ICE involvement isn't detailed in sources. Okay. So what's this? The footage clearly shows Rene Nicole Good trying to wave the ICE agent's car ahead, which completely undermines DHS's narrative that she intended to kill the ICE agent. So yeah, she's waving here. Although I'm not quite sure, like, why is her car parked sideways in the center of the road, sort of like there is space to go past, but it's still weird why it's parked like this. Like, I I guess it's still to hassle with the ICE agent. So I'm not saying that the victim here is completely flawless or sinless. Like, it's possible that if the law enforcement officers actually cared about the law, there might have been grounds for arresting her for something, but definitely not for shooting her. So RNG was neither protesting nor intending to even stay in the area. She was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. The right in the US self-immolated over the simple moral issue and revealed what they are willing to lie about in order to have their team win. Yeah, good point, because it's all about the team. That's one reason why I hate, like, um, regular political pundits, because it's you throw the truth in the waste basket, and instead you stick to some narratives because you think it's gonna help you put the ball in the opposite court, and then the other goal. because it's a freaking ball game and it's not about actually, truth or trying to figure out how to make life function better. Junior here says it's not about white women, it's about who does the killing. Yeah, because here the black guy killed the white woman, and the right wing was, very rightfully upset about it. But here, the right wing, saw ICE officer killing a white woman, and many of them are celebrating it. And of course, the difference is that well, the victim. Well, here we don't really know about Irina, the Ukrainian girl. I don't know much about her politics except that she is a Ukrainian refugee, and of course this was some lesbian uh, libtard, as they call her. Like, yeah, I don't think she was the greatest person. Probably, not the nicest person out there. This RNG woman, yet the issue isn't really her as much. I think the issue is that I don't think it's fine for the law enforcement to do, just execute a person because they might have done something that is against the law. Whether she did something that's against the law, I can't really say for sure, because it's very, like, still not so clear, like whether she did drive a bit recklessly. I guess that's something that she did, but whether she actually tried to commit a crime, I'm not convinced. Holy shit, she literally says go around to the ice age, and not only was she not blocking them, she was letting them to know that they have room to move in front of her. Am I the first person noticing this? Yeah, she says go around, at least according to this video. Yeah, so I don't know. What's this? The woman said, I'm pulling out immodestly when she saw law enforcement. This suggests she wanted to make a U-turn and drive away at that point. I removed noise and made the video louder. Don't shoot the messenger. So what does it say? Okay, it's the same as the previous video, but here it sounds like pulling out instead of move around.
No! No! Shit!
Okay. I'm not sure if I've seen this particular person, at least not with sound. So yeah, it happens so fast here. So they just come and try to try to open her door, and then she sort of tries to escape. I think she's justified. Yeah. Okay. It's like, I think that's like, random thugs come here, like they're not. Did they say you're under arrest or anything like that? It's like, I don't know. Oh yeah, anyways, there's also this. The ICE agent is traumatized. The ICE agent who opened fire in Minneapolis Wednesday was dragged 100 yards by an illegal migrant in Minnesota last June after his arm was trapped inside a vehicle during a traffic stop. Literally makes sense why he opened fire now. So he had PTSD basically, and he shouldn't be in a situation like that because he couldn't act rationally. New footage of the killing of Renee Good in Minneapolis, clearly showing her turning away from the agent. And yeah, this is very interesting. That let's listen to the sound.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's Okay, we don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Here it does seem like she was driving unsafely, but like, hey, the cop shouldn't be standing in front of the vehicle, and another cop tried to open the door, so it makes sense she's trying to escape. So I think she's justified in light of the previous video. But what's interesting is that, and yeah, I feel a bit filthy agreeing with Brian Krasenstein here, but like, even small-headed leftard is right once per day or twice per day. But like, yeah, a lot of, when right-wingers have been saying that this proves that she was trying to kill him. Like here, footage from the ICE agent's perspective shows Renee Good attempting to run over the immigration officer. Like, no, doesn't mean that, like, yeah, she's being, unsafe in her driving, but it's a woman, and it's icy outside, and also then she genuinely might be worried because somebody tried to open the car. Ryan Dawson says, I'm anti-immigrant, siding with ICE after a guy shoots a woman 3 times, 2 of which were through her driver's side window, is just going to turn half the country against them. This guy needs to be thrown under the bus. Get back to deporting Somalis. Exactly. Like, I think lots of these, right-wingers, they are sort of in their mind seeing ICE as the, and this incident, like, we are the right-wing death squads and we're getting rid of the commies and the whatever. And it's like, if that was the case, I couldn't really argue with them, but clearly it's not, because they're part of the Trump administration, and Trump administration is controlled by Israel and people like that. They are not some, far right ethno-nationalist government. They are not working for it. Like, okay, some of the enemies of these ethno-nationalists might be suffering from ICE as well, but eventually ICE will come for them, because I don't think they're actually, because I haven't seen ICE videos of ICE deporting Somalis, and supposedly, back in Obama's time, Obama used to deport more people than Donald Trump, despite, Obama being Obama. So, like, yeah, Trump is words, not actions, or, well, his actions for the benefit of Israel, and not the people who voted for him. Over 120 ICE agents in Chicago are straight from Israeli Defense Forces. This is out of total 2,000 agents. How many agents have been trained by the IDF? It's entirely possible the agent who just shot a protester in Minneapolis was Israeli or Israeli trained. Yeah, he is. Fuentes is like de facto Israel shield nowadays. Whether he does it intentionally or not, can't say. Neighbors just released new angle of the ICE shooting, and it settles any debate on what actually happened. This was a mother doing something completely ordinary, dropping somebody off, then trying to leave. She goes to pull out, stops for one car to pass, then waves the agents to drive past. Within seconds, those ICE agents exit the vehicle and rush her, shouting and escalating the situation. Panicked, she tries to drive away and gets shot in the face 3 times. She posed no threat, showed no intent to harm, and was interfering with no one. She was a civilian going about her life. The official statements that followed contradict the footage and read like an attempt to rewrite what happened. This was a reckless, unjustified killing, followed by a dishonest effort to evade responsibility, and is horrifying and exposes something deeply wrong with the US government and these ICE agents. They must be held accountable. This is not a partisan issue. I need you to look in, gang. Hello, Stolen Hellcat. Hello, buddy Cyanin. We got a Uden issue. Yes, sort of do. And yeah, I don't think it's like I don't think killing women, whether they are a bit, sure, like some people have argued that she was for replacing the American people with Somalis, and yeah, it, like yeah, sure, she's like norm in certain circumstances. I wouldn't have much sympathy for her. Let's say she was stabbed by some Somali immigrant, that she was, at least allegedly she was, for that. So like I wouldn't sympathize with her that much, but it's different when it's the government doing it. It's, I don't know. And I don't know. I sort of lost train of thought, but anyway, let's continue. We got lots of tabs. So Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent in Minnesota, was not previously rammed by a car. He tried to arrest a man in a locked car by breaking the back window and unlocking the door. The driver pulled ahead. Ross was dragged. He's a dumbass who doesn't know how to be safe around cars. That's okay. Yeah, if that's true, then it sounds like he's a dumbass. Here's how far we have fallen. The five ICE officers surrounding the Honda Pilot of Renee Good had no authority over her. Zero. They have no local law enforcement authority. She was born in the U.S. citizen. They could not have probable cause for an immigration violation. They literally did not have the authority to stop and interrogate her, to order her to produce papers, to yank open the door of an SUV, let alone kill her. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that U.S. law enforcement can't use deadly force to stop someone fleeing, even if there's a crime involved, and there wasn't a crime. So the people saying Good would be alive if she just followed orders, wrong. Why should she? ICE works for her, not the other way around. They work for us. You don't have to follow the orders of people who have no authority to give you orders. That's what the founding fathers believed. That's what they enshrined in the Constitution. Not just not just do what officials tell you until they can satisfy themselves. Only Trump and Noem and I in 2025 and 2026 have decided to discard that. That is tyranny. That's what Americans fought the revolution against. So if you're a conservative or Trump supporter, you've read this far, check your constitution, check your Federalist Papers. You've lost the plot of freedom, democracy, even capitalism. Certainly the question of what authority law enforcement has over perfectly innocent citizens going about their business or driving or even protesting. First Amendment, you're obsessed with. Second Amendment, there's an amendment that comes first. So yeah, I I don't know whether the authority of the ICE officers is different from normal police officers, and the guy had a jacket saying police, so I don't know whether this is true, but I've heard similar arguments elsewhere. So at least it sounds something that should be taken into account. So ICE is not allowed to trespass and try to open your vehicle without a warrant unless you are lawfully being arrested. Blocking a roadway is not an immigration offense. They cannot enforce state traffic laws. Trying to open the door was a major escalation. Yeah, it's like, because just looking at the police sort of milling around there, it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing. It's sort of like watching people playing RPGs, like they're role playing as police officers but don't really know what they're doing, and then it's like, hey, he's doing something, and one of them decides like, okay, I'll shoot, and the others are like, I don't know, should we? And it's like, that's how the whole thing seems like. They don't know what they're doing. People who watch the new body cam footage and think, yeah, this woman deserved to die, just cannot be reasoned with. Peak delusion. Like, okay, I can understand some people watch the video like once and read comments for 5 minutes that said that yeah, she tried to run over him. Like, if you don't think about it too much, like, okay, I can understand, but then I suggest that you look deeper into you think about some of the points I made out here, that it's not the police officers aren't supposed to stand in front of the car where they could be rammed and get an excuse to shoot them. Anyway, the agent surround her car and she panics. Poorly trained agent steps in front of the vehicle with his phone in his hand, question marks, and then he shoots her in the face 3 times. Doesn't matter if they were there to protest or not. It's your right as an American and should not be a death warrant. Fucking bitch, seek God. Yeah, he said fucking bitch after killing her. It's, it's not a good look. She was pulling out, so Genghis Khan says, that's, my friends, is cold-blooded murder. They have no authority to stop her. She's not an illegal. She yells them. She's pulling out. After first waving them on, they jump out, masks on, and escalate by blocking her and surrounding her car. She freaks out, backs up, and tries to flee and gets shot in the face by a trigger-happy amateur. And J.D. Vance says, he's protected by absolute immunity. If ICE agents have absolute immunity, that means they can never be prosecuted for anything done on the job. That's as Orwellian as it gets. Yeah, it's like, what if they start struggle snuggling people and stuff like that? Like that sounds like complete BS. Especially like they they're not arresting, like, deporting so many people. Past few days I've seen more evidence of them harassing actual Americans than illegals. So it's called officer created jeopardy. The ICE agent created it by blocking her in. The ICE agent drew his gun. The ICE agent executed a middle-aged white mom. I know it's hard to accept the truth, but you need to choke it down, America. Premeditated murder. Yeah. Yeah, officer created jeopardy. I guess that's a good expression. Like, yeah, because some people they've sort of argued that they don't like, they've said it directly or indirectly that they, simply because she was supporting replacing or allegedly replacing white Americans with Somalis, that she deserved it. And it's like, okay, that's actually a better argument. I'm not saying I agree with it, but it's a better argument because I do think like this incident itself wasn't justified for shooting her. But like, if taking that other argument to a logical conclusion, then you basically say that ICE agents should just go into the homes of libtard white women who support unrestricted immigration and shoot them at the dinner table. And hey, that's certainly an escalation, but at least you can make like an argument for it. But I wonder if these people are like realizing what they're sort of suggesting. Because I have talked about, like, the Roman Empire in the past, like, when one political faction gained power, they would purge the other factions, and I asked, like, perhaps that it will lead to a more stable society. So perhaps there is an argument to be made, but I don't think it's really for regular people, but it's more like the political elites of the opposing side who are purged. And I think this was, yeah, she was some lesbian libtard soccer mom uh, with 3 kids. Like, somewhere somebody claimed that she's lost custody of 2 of her kids for, like, maybe her wife used cigarettes to burn them or something. If that's true, that's fucked up, but I don't think shooting the woman is gonna help her kids in any way, especially if the kids have been taken away already. Read this stuff already, but this is a great breakdown. Bottom line is, regardless of the 2 women instigating the incident, the officer in question was trained to deal with the situation. He had neither justification to draw his firearm or use lethal force and was directed not to stand in front of a vehicle like he did use his body to block it. He escalated the situation, then used letter force. I don't know what it means. Is it a typo? Because he had set it up to end exact way. The officer is at fault. His own regulations stipulate why. The end. Yeah. If you think one of these women are a victim and the other isn't, then you're probably victims of a successful divide and conquer campaign. So this is of course Ashley Babbitt, and this isn't Renee Nicole Good, but in the beginning, like within a few hours of the actual Renee Nicole Good getting shot, people mistook this for her. But yeah, it's like both were victims of injustice by the state. There is Jonathan Ross, so the guy, the shooter, who had a Grinder account, JRoss104, that was deleted yesterday. He also purchased gay content from Snapchat creators, probably the same guy, unless there's another Jonathan Ross who just happened to delete his social media accounts yesterday. Now, somebody pointed out in the comments, I think, that perhaps it's just a guy with a similar name, but now he's gonna get attention to him because of the name, so he deleted that's a possibility. And also, at least this guy, he's supposedly has a Filipino wife, but he looks much bigger and like fatter and wider in the video, but of course it might be because of his padding and armor or whatever, flak jacket or whatever, and his face is covered. But I guess it's the same guy. Tim Walz just said that Minnesota is at war with federal government. Well, this was like a week ago already, so presumably he sort of backed out on that one, because I haven't seen full state of war between Minnesota and the federal government. The woman in his face with the phone is her lesbian partner. The two had gone there following instructions from their radical group. One was going to block the road while the other got out to harass on foot. Totally premeditated. Dog in car, kid at school, horrible parents. So look, leftists are psychopaths, but what was revealed to us within last week is that the right is just as psychopathic. Exactly. And I don't even know if it's true that they went there because supposedly she went to like drop her kid or pick up her kid or something. I don't know. Since Trump took office, his administration has killed more unarmed white women than they have arrested Epstein clients or corrupt swamp monsters. How does that taste? Exactly. Like based white power ice right wing death squads that just keep killing white women instead of the actual, criminals. Yeah, it doesn't seem like ICE is there to protect the, regular Americans from invaders. It's there to, because they will be used against conservatives and people like that. If like maybe they will be used to deport Americans who don't like Israel, deport or do something else to them. And 1 month ago, one fucking month, Nicolas Fuentes said, performative cruelty is the perfect phrase to characterize the Trump admin and mood of the MAGA movement. In order to compensate for his compromises and failures, Trump has to fall back to mean-spiritedness to appeal to the basest instinct of its followers. It's really sad. We wanted no new wars, mass deportations, low prices, transparency and accountability for Democrats. None of that is happening, so instead we get cheap, increasingly mean-spirited rants and insults, reveling in violence, snarky rage bait on social media is going to backfire majorly. Yeah, he's not wrong, but as far as I know, he supports both the ICE shooter and the invasion of Venezuela. It's wild that multiple people can watch the exact same video from the same exact angles and come away with completely opposite interpretations based almost entirely on whether they're on political team red or team blue. Well, at least I guess I would still be more red, generally speaking, team red, but I still have more like the team blue interpretation of it. And then, based on those political beliefs, immediately run to social media to assert that their assessment of the video is the only correct one. Wait, I see comments in my chat. Fuentes is a Sephardic name that got expelled in Iberia in 1492. I don't have any surnames that are, but he does. Yeah, I've heard that claim before that Fuentes is what's the name? Marano name or something. Is it Marano the term? Yeah, it's whether his actual ancestry is that sort of that's the way he behaves, certainly. I missed this clip before. After Renee Wood's death, someone, apparently her partner Becca, screaming, "Why did you have real bullets? How could she not know law enforcement uses real bullets?"
Why don't you have real bullets?
So this is the weirdest part of the whole thing. Like I don't know whether this is, it could be edited, it could be out of context or whatever, but like assuming that this is true, that this is shortly after the shooting, to me it would suggest that this was some sort of false flag, that, or like maybe it was supposed to be like a fake shooting, but for whatever reason they had real bullets and she was actually killed. So I don't know, maybe it was supposed to be like a left-wing anti-ICE propaganda or fake shooting. Like that's just what this video seems to suggest, but of course this might be fake in whatever manner, so I'm not quite sure what this means, but this is like the weirdest piece of detail I've seen when it comes to this shooting. And here is a different ICE thingy. Holy shit, an ICE agent aims his gun at woman's head at point blank range. Okay, here. What the fuck is going on in the USA? Yeah.
Oh shit, he's got it done.
Is this like, is this real? Is this AI? I keep having people scream at me that ICE are federal law enforcement officers, but do cops get trained to pull guns on unarmed women who pose no threat? There seems to be a pattern here. Who's training ICE? They act more like Israeli military than American police, yeah. But my based right-wingers are all for pulling guns on unarmed white women. Even though, like, even if they are leftards or whatever, it's like, is that the way to fix them? Like, really? And especially, like, where's all the videos of ICE actually doing that to, I don't know, Somalis or Haitians or whatever, or, South American refugees, quote unquote. White American says, "No, I'm sorry, I do not defend race traitors who try to stop ICE agents from deporting browns solely because they're white." Yeah, but that's not really the issue. The issue is that, the government, they're gonna come for you next. And, if I happen to see them shoot this guy in his car or whatever, like, yeah, I won't have much, I won't shed tears for him, because if he's too dumb to see what's going on. ICE isn't just trained by the IDF, they have a whole office in Israel-occupied land. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's on a website. So Tel Aviv Yeah, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So that's what ICE stands for. I didn't even know that. So it's Tel Aviv Embassy Branch Main Cell. Yeah. But why does a U.S. like is part of Department of Homeland Security? Wait, wasn't that their Twitter page was created in Israel? I guess it makes perfect sense now. The whole Department of Homeland Security is all Israeli, and it was created after 9/11, right? Who did 9/11? It was the Qataris, right? They are not really after illegals. They are using illegals as an excuse to create a police state aimed at you. Yeah. And most right-wingers seem to be too dumb to see that, unfortunately. Or at least a great deal, at least the most vocal ones. Caught on tape, 2 ICE agents slip on ice in Minnesota, causing one of their weapons to discharge because it wasn't set on safety. These people are dangerously negligent. Like, I don't know, was this Home Alone or something? Like, of course, I've seen a few different videos of ICE agents allegedly doing bad things, but of course, like lacking context, hard to say whether they're genuine or not, because it's also very feasible or possible that under the current climate that there would be some lefties to fabricate false claims against ICE doing bad things. But there's certainly proper information suggesting they've been doing that too. Anyways, so yeah, they're trained by the IDF. Why do I feel like ICE will soon stop deporting illegals and instead start locking up people who criticize Israel? Yeah, I think it's gonna happen real soon. So this is another incident.
Shame on you.
Listen, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Give me my phone.
So yes, unarmed woman, shame on you, Ice Goon. Have you not learned from the past few days? Unarmed woman learned what? Others shall listen. And Ice Goon violently snatches her phone. Like, I thought she has a right to record law enforcement officers. Like, yeah, it sounds like a invading army. Like, even though those might be libtards or whatever, but like these invading armies seem like a worse a threat. And Lord Bebo here says, I wanted to address all the why are you defending the deranged liberal lesbian comments. I do not. My position is pretty simple. She was out of her mind and looked for trouble. Yes, I'm not defending that, not nor her. I'm just saying that ICE agent had no necessity to shoot since he jumped out of the way. If he didn't shoot at all, he would still not be injured. As Charlie Kirk did and said, we can discuss and disagree. That doesn't mean we oppose each other personally. It's just one topic we disagree on. If your opinion is deranged liberal looked for trouble and got find out and fucked out, or fuck around, find out, that's your opinion. I understand where it's coming from, but I personally think cops should not just shoot people that quickly. The bar should be higher. Most of the time, I agree with the FO moments. Just here it's different because the agent was out of danger when he shot. Pretty simple for me. If you disagree with me, that's also fine. Thanks to everyone who commented and brought the conversation further. Except like no, if you disagree, unless you know something I don't know, is no, you are wrong, or you're just psychotic basically. I don't know, like it's possible there are some circumstances I don't know about, but so far, like the onus is for the authorities to show that they were correct in shooting the woman, but like she was shot 3 times. And even the first shot, he was already like sort of standing in the side. So yeah, it doesn't seem he was justified. James Tate here says, I'm a Marine Corps veteran trained by the law enforcement officers when I served in the US embassies on how to handle unruly individuals or protesters. One, if you are the guys with guns, you are the ones responsible for the situation. Doubly so if you outnumber the person you're engaging. Check. Two, you do not need to use force except to control the situation in order to de-escalate it. Minimal force required. Three, you are not here to look for excuses to use more force. Yes, even if the person gives you an excuse which justifies quote unquote using force, that doesn't mean using force is de facto the right move. Let the other person retreat. Let the other person retreat often resolves the situation just fine. Don't surround people. Back them up against the wall, etc. Your job is to control the situation. I put myself stupidly in danger is not an excuse to escalate because I'm in danger. Exactly. People will feed off your energy if you come rolling up like a fascist thug ready to break skulls. People will meet you at that level. If you show up calm, professional, having friendly chat, that often brings the temperature down. Everything I see from ICE agents is that they are relishing violence and exercising power and needlessly escalating situations, looking for opportunities to shoot their weapons and beat the shit out of people. So Alexander McCoy, so that's the one who said it, I guess. But sounds very, I'm not a law enforcement specialist in any sense, but this sounds very reasonable to me. Please tread on everyone but me, sir. Pretty spectacular watching people twist themselves into pretzels to defend this ICE agent. The mental gymnastics it takes to justify 3 shots to the head for driving away. The right wing has completely lost its identity. What happened to the party of small government? Yeah. CBS decided not to air this 25-year-old veteran federal agent pointing out all the ways ICE agent was wrong in the shooting Renegade in his broadcast. I wonder why. At least it's online. So I'm not going to watch the whole video, but a little bit.
As cops, we're responsible for every single round that leaves our weapon.
Eric Ballier is a 25-year career federal agent who most recently oversaw use of force investigations for Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI. We asked him what to make of the tactics used by federal agents in the fatal Minnesota shooting.
In my 25 years, I've done hundreds of vehicle stops. If someone is fleeing, that is not a justification for the use of deadly force.
In this moment,
Yeah. So is he wrong? Is he lying? All these experts who know for, 100% certainty that she was trying to kill him and he was defending himself, like, yeah. Holy smokes, new video shows ICE agents smashing the window of a protester's vehicle and forcibly pulling him out in Minneapolis, and he was immediately detained. Protesters in the area are furious, tensions are exploding. This is escalation, not policing. Yeah, they are breaking the window there. Like, of course, it's possible there's some context we don't know, but doesn't look good. And some people have argued that the purpose of ICE is to increase tensions towards civil war or who knows what kind of conflict, that they are like purposely doing this stuff to piss off the other side. And here it says, ICE grabbed a 14-year-old Target worker at his job despite him saying he's a US citizen. After confirming he was, they dumped him in a Walmart lot 8 minutes away. Bystanders found him sobbing and bleeding. They slammed me on the ground. Yeah, well, if this is true, it's quite atrocious. So do they have immunity? Like, of course, this might be BS, this claim, but I wonder. Let's have to reload these things. In America, if you refuse to get dragged out of your car by masked federal agents, the government is allowed to execute you and publicly mock your death on 25 different news channels. If you ask questions, you are labeled a radical leftist lunatic. Yeah. Does that happen in North Korea? And then there's this. US four-star general just confirmed under oath that he would definitely execute a lawful order to attack Americans on US soil. So tell me martial law is coming to America without telling me martial law is coming to America. Okay, are we... still one more Rene Good thingy. I think I have to go make milk for my son though. Okay, did I close? Okay, let's let this video run while I go downstairs to get some milk for my son. I have to heat it up and stuff. Be right back.
You guys are all on video.
No, take my phone. Hey, they got my phone.
Where is the paperwork for that?
Where's the...
They do it on target. They do it on target.
Hey, don't. Stand up.
Where are their points?
Hey, phone worker.
Anybody else going to ask where the fuck the warrants are? You guys don't have the right.
What's your name? What's your name? Jonathan Aguilar Garcia. I'm literally a U.S. citizen.
Give us a
I'm
phone
literally a
number.
U.S. citizen.
Get the fuck out of here, Ace.
Why are you kidnapping our citizens?
Get in there.
Why are you? Why?
Sir, give us your phone number. We'll call your family. Give us your phone number.
At least call his family. Wait, you want your family to know?
I literally have my passport. My fucking passport.
Let him get out his passport.
Alright, back for now. I have to heat the water and stuff and go back after a while. Chat says we are going to war should be wild. Yeah, I think Europe as well is sort of getting ready for that. Right, let's see. So Rene Good was given simultaneous conflicting orders by ICE agents. One told her to leave, another told her to get out of the car while grabbing the door, and another blocked her path. This is not disputed. Conflicting commands are a known escalation risk. They made compliance impossible. The chaos was created by ICE, not by Good, and it directly led to her death. Yeah. Is it wrong? So did you know that the fact that ICE agents gave Rene Good conflicting orders was reported, but it was quietly buried? Not because it's unclear, because it's inconvenient. The detail doesn't fit the two headline-friendly frames media pushed toward justified self-defense and deliberate execution. Conflicting commands point instead to something messier and more damning: procedural failure under duress, under stress rather, which is harder to explain, harder to litigate, harder to spin in a breaking news cycle. So it landed in later paragraph follow-up stories and local reporting, where inconvenient truths often go to die. The information is there, you just have to read past the part most people stop at. Alright, I think that's... No, not the last one, there's still this. Trump on absolute immunity for the ICE officer who shot Rene Good. This woman was very, very disrespectful. You can't do that. Well, this guy wants a civil war.
The administration has advocated for absolute immunity for the ICE officer who shot Rene Good. How do you define absolute immunity. What does that mean?
Everyone's seen it. And a woman who's very violent. She's a very radical person. Very sad what happened. Her friend was very radical. Go and
But
drive.
for the officer, absolute immunity. How would you define that?
Well, I'm going to let the people define it. But immunity, you know what immunity means as well as I do.
So that officer should be back on the
people
force?
can't be treating law enforcement that way, whether it's ICE or Border Patrol or our police and men and women. You can't do that. We have, the law enforcement in our country is doing really well, despite the fact that.
Doesn't sound like he knows. Like, let the people define what is immunity. What? And yeah, Homeland Security reminder: if you lay a finger on a federal officer or agent, you will face the full extent of the law. Well, Good didn't lay any fingers on anybody, she except her steering wheel. Oh yeah, there's this. I tried to warn everybody over many months. I did my best. So drones represent. So Christy Noem, secretary. Drones represent the new frontier of American air superiority. Under Trump, we are entering new era. So this will help us continue to secure the border and cripple the cartels, protect our infrastructure, and keep Americans safe as they attend festivities and events during a historic year of America's 250th birthday and FIFA 2026. So they're gonna be like spying Americans with drones. Is that it? All right, but let's finally we can move to the next topic. So let's see. Which is going to be US versus Greenland or Denmark or however you want to phrase it. But I will have to go do my milk run. I'll be right back. All right, back again. So let's have a look at what's going on between US and Greenland. So France is working with its allies to on a plan should US move on Greenland, according to Reuters report. And Trump considers paying Greenlanders between $10,000 and $100,000 per person to join the US and support a secession from Denmark. That's a cheap price to sell out your country. Like if you get like $10,000 per month for the rest of your life, then I guess something worth considering or something. But it's like doesn't seem that worth the price. But like personally, because there's like people saying that it's the end of NATO if America invades Greenland and maybe they're gonna invade. I don't believe that Trump is actually planning to attack Greenland. I think he's not looking to annex all of Greenland to the United States. My 2 cents is that he just wants access to some of its resources, whether it's natural resources or tactic resources, like build a military base there or something like that. And I think that's his, trying to force a compromise from the Danish government or something for whatever reason. And or well, the most important, not important, like interesting tidbit is that because I actually heard this already, like probably a year ago, whenever, like when the Greenland angle was first started, like at least became more vocal when, because Trump has been talking about it for a year at least for now, that he's interested in Greenland because it's close to the North Pole, and according to some let's say far-fetched Christian conspiracy theories relating to the millennial reign of Christ and stuff, that the camp of saints from the Bible is in the North Pole, and that's why they want Greenland, because it gives them access or close access to the North Pole and stuff. Don't know whether there's any truth to that, but I find it interesting. And all 5 parties in Greenland, so political parties, issue statement: we don't want to be Americans, we don't want to be Danish, we want to be Greenlanders. Of course, his political parties doesn't necessarily represent what the people think, but but I have to go take care of the last part of the milk run. I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay, that should be taken care of. Now he's drinking the milk. So President Trump says, I don't need international law. My own morality, my own mind is the only thing that can stop me. Like the first statement, I don't need international law. You could even argue for that, because it's as arbitrary as not other kinds of law. But this is sort of like, yeah, it's the only thing that can stop me. It's makes him sound megalomaniacal. Is that the purpose here? Let's load these and then this. So who is pushing Trump to acquire Greenland? Not a trick question. The same people who pushed for a TikTok takeover ADL, Venezuela takeover Paul Singer, Palestine takeover Rothschilds. Are you seeing the pattern yet? Meet World Jewish Congress President and Epstein associate Ron Lauder. Lauder is the billionaire Estee Lauder heir who, according to former US National Security Advisor John Bolton, first put the idea of buying Greenland into Donald Trump's mind, has quietly taken ownership stakes in Greenlandic companies. So Ronald Lauder. Yeah, I can't really say I've heard of him before. I've heard of Estee Lauder, but don't know a great deal about it except for the name. Yeah, and then Venezuela stuff. Maduro's wife shows up in court with a black eye. The Masonic black eye ritual is taking place, in case you had any doubts. Or it could simply be that, she's trying to. Maybe she got roughed up on purpose to gain some sympathy votes or something. That's also possible. Or maybe she was actually roughed up. That's also possible. Randy Fine here, Congressman Randy Fine, who is one of the maybe the most blatant Israel first and everything else last person out there. So huge news. Today I'm proud to introduce the Greenland Annexation and Statehood Act, a bill that allows the president to find the means necessary to bring Greenland into the Union. Let me be clear, our adversaries are trying to establish a foothold in the Arctic. We can't let that happen. So what's so interesting about the Arctic? Is there something we don't know about? Like, is there really the Camp of Saints, or I don't know, some mithril or something? By acquiring Greenland, we would prevent our adversaries from controlling the Arctic region and secure our northern flank from Russia and China. Wait, sorry, I didn't see the chat. He won't help us at all, but pay the people off. Yeah, we are Rome 2.0. Yeah, except, I don't know, I like Rome. It sort of lessens the greatness of Rome, even though I'm not saying I think everything they did was morally correct, but like comparing to United States, that's a puppet for Israel and related people to Rome, but certainly in some respects that's true. So first time in history, Denmark now classifies USA as a security threat. So Trump's first month of 2026, first 2 weeks, Maduro kidnapped, Iran war to greenlit, Lebanon war to greenlit, bullying Denmark, India threatened with tariffs, Colombia war threatened, Greenland war threatened, Cuba war threatened, Gaza ceasefire breakdown, airstrike in Nigeria, Somalia, and Syria. I don't know what's the difference with Somalia and Somaliland. And US-backed terrorist in Sahel, AES, it's not United Arab, I don't know what's that, Sahel, don't know, and ICE murder, of course. Yeah, not looking so good. And it's embarrassing because now it makes it look like the libtards were right all along, who said that Hitler is going to be Trump. I mean, Trump is going to be Hitler and all that stuff. And well, you can only say you wish, I guess. The Justice Department had to drop its drug trafficking allegation against Maduro because the cartel was a CIA front that they admit doesn't actually exist. What? So, okay, so why did they arrest this guy then? So, Justice Department dropped this claim that Venezuela's Cartel de los Soles is an actual group. Okay. And yeah, there's supposedly some oil companies. I don't know whether that's true or not, but at least there's claims that like some oil companies are not really interested in taking over the Venezuela oil business because of all their liabilities, and Trump is not happy about that. So I don't know whether that is true or whether it's just, let's say leftist rumors. Holy shit, it's happening. Donald Trump is banning large institutional investors like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and Blackstone from buying up our single-family homes and renting them back to us again. Homes will be affordable again. So for a very long time, buying and owning a home was considered the pinnacle of American dream. It was the reward for working hard and doing the right thing. But now, because of the record high inflation caused by Joe Biden and the Democrats in Congress, the American dream is increasingly out of reach for far too many people, especially younger Americans. It is for that reason and much more that I am immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes. I will be calling on Congress to codify it. People live in homes, not corporations. I will discuss this topic, blah, blah, blah. He will um, discuss it in his speech in Davos in 2 weeks. Well, that's not so good, like the WEF stuff. But like otherwise, it sounds good, but have to see whether it is. And Trump calls for the U.S. military budget to increase from $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion for 2027. That doesn't sound good. U.S. Senate passes Venezuela War Powers Resolution 52 to 47, backing limits to block Trump from further Venezuela military action without congressional authorization. I guess that's good, but little too late. I mean, too little too late, whatever. And Trump, if we didn't do this, China or Russia would have done it. He literally did the mean. If I don't steal it, someone else will.
One thing I think everyone has to know is that if we didn't do this, China or Russia would have done it. And if China or Russia were a next-door neighbor, because essentially this is not around the other parts of the world so far away where you...
Yeah, okay. He did sort of say it. So sometimes these quotations are wrong, but here it seems to be accurate. The Venezuelan Congress voted unanimously, including all opposition parties, to condemn Trump for committing mass massacre against Venezuelans and to consider the United States intervention a terrorist attack. Okay, so United States is not controlling Venezuela then? What's the point of ousting Maduro then? United States used secret weapons in Venezuela that made soldiers bleed and vomit, according to the New York Post. We all started bleeding from the nose. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground, unable to move. We couldn't even stand up after that sonic weapon or whatever it was. They pull out all the stops when it comes to giving more money and power to Israel and the oligarchs. So I guess there's basically three interpretations for this new weapon that they're talking about. Either the weapon exists and they used it, they were sort of testing their new toys, that's possible, or maybe it was lies and propaganda from the United States to make them sound, stronger than they actually are, or it's propaganda of lies from the Venezuelan military. Said like, oh, they had super weapons, there was nothing we could do to fight them off, even though they were just incompetent. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm leaning towards it. It might actually be true, which is not good probably. I sort of read this already. Okay. Oh yeah, China hacked email systems of U.S. Congressional Committee staff. So China released the Epstein files. So he's pleading them. But it's like, okay, even if they hack the email systems of the Congressional Committee staff, does it mean they have access to the Epstein files? Did they have the files there? Asmongold says Americans should capture Keir Starmer. This comes after Keir Starmer says he may ban X in the UK. We should just go and arrest him. He has a lower approval rating than Maduro, and we arrested him. Well, clearly Asmongold is listening to me, because I said last week that they should rather capture Keir Starmer than Maduro. Or, Netanyahu would be a good option too. President Trump to interview BlackRock CIO Rick Reeder for Federal Reserve Chair. I don't know what is CIO, like, it's not CEO, whatever, it's something. And of course, it's just an interview, so it doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna become like the Federal Reserve chair, but it doesn't sound good. And yeah, China hacks email system of multiple US Congress committees. Yeah. You know, the bad part is that they won't release whatever is there. Presumably they won't, at least. Holy shizzles, Department of Labor posted trust the plan, trust Trump. This comes days after they posted Patriots in control. So this is, of course, all allusions to Q or QAnon as it's called. And no, I don't think this means that, you know, the actual Patriots are in control. It's more like they're using this. It's almost like mockery in my opinion. I don't think that, you know, the good guys are in control of the US military or the US government right now. I don't believe that. And US Department of Labor said, one homeland, one people, one heritage. Remember who you are, American. That sounds, I don't want to say eerily, but curiously similar to Ein Reich, ein Volk, ein Führer. And you know, I'm not saying it would be terrible if they said something like that, but it's just curious that they are saying stuff like that. It's like, and it's obvious that it echoes the Nazi slogan: "One people, one realm, one leader." It's like, because I really don't think that there's some sort of crypto Nazis in charge of the U.S. Department of Labor, or is their next um, slogan gonna be Arbeit macht frei or something? J.D. Vance said, remember when we learned that our wealthiest and most powerful people were connected to a guy who ran a literal child sex trafficking ring, and then that guy died mysteriously in jail, and now we just don't talk about it. This was 2021. And Thomas Massey, seems like it was just yesterday. Yeah, and now he doesn't talk about it. And President Trump to attempt World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland next week, expected to deliver the keynote address. Did you hear that? Trump is going to give the keynote address at WEF Davos. You don't give the keynote address anywhere unless you are the guest of honor. All these tracks, given Trump is silently working the Great Reset agenda into damn near every facet of his second term while gaslighting Americans about the golden age. Trump will give performative speech that will make it appear as if he is chastising the WEF to fool his base, and many will buy it hook, line, and sinker. It only makes sense then that Larry Fink, who is besties with Trump, who runs the WEF, would have Trump as his guest of honor. MAGA, is this what you voted for? I guess it is. Okay, so the last one here, I still have more tabs elsewhere. So, yeah, this is interesting. Bill and Hillary Clinton are facing contempt of Congress charges if they don't appear before a House committee next week on January 13th or 14th to testify in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. If the pizza-loving couple from hell are found guilty of contempt, Congress can send U.S. Capitol Police to arrest them and bring them before lawmakers. TikTok MFers. So yeah, I think this should be happening. I don't know, maybe it happened already or will be happening soon, like this committee. But alright, that's all about that stuff. Let's move to other topics, if I can find my tabs here. Alright, so what's next? Berlin, powerless. Alright. So yeah, Berlin was, or large sections of Berlin were out of power and people were out in cold. So let's see. So do you want Hitler? This is how you get Hitler. So after a left-wing terror attack left much of Berlin without power and heat, German officials evacuated refugees and left elderly and cancer patients in the cold. Yeah, that sounds sort of deliberate. So this, I'm not a news kind of guy, but this story is getting enough international coverage. Antifa terrorists set fire to power infrastructure in Berlin and knocked out electricity and heat in parts of the city. About 45,000 people are sitting without power or heating right now. And what did the German officials do? They rushed to evacuate migrants while leaving elderly and cancer patients to sit in the cold. By the way, it's minus 12 degrees in Germany. This is a crime against humanity. Yeah, so I don't know if this is like a long time ago, so I don't know what did the people get help? Did anybody freeze to death? Anything like that? My son woke up and now he wants to join the stream apparently. Okay, United Arab Emirates announces it will cut funds for citizens who want to study in the UK out of fear of Emirati students being radicalized by Muslim Brotherhood Islamists on the British campuses. An Arab state now views a European state as a dangerous Islamist radicalization hotspot. So it's British campuses, interesting. All right, that's that. Let's go from Germany to some Kirk business. Erica Kirk and what's Charlie Kirk stuff. So Candice Owen shows an exclusive photo from the back of Charlie Kirk at the time of assassination. There's no blood on his back, no exit wound here. Charlie Kirk's assassination, the official narrative is falling apart. There's no bullet, there's no autopsy when it is required in the state of Utah. The suspect wasn't there, no fingerprints, crime scene destroyed immediately, no confession, no letter, no video footage of him ever carrying a rifle disassembled, no motive, bodyguards acting weird. Tyler is a patsy, they want to blame an innocent person for Charlie Kirk assassination. So, I don't know whether this picture here is actual photo of him, it could be edited or photoshopped or whatever. That's possible, but maybe it's not. Okay, based on recent reports from court-related. Wait, I should. Because now it's not logged in that browser, so I should open this in another tab. All right. Let's see. Okay, so holy shice. Listen closely. Anna Paulina Luna just detonated a bomb on Erica Kirk. She did lose her husband. She lost her kids. Why is no one explaining what happened to Charlie and Erica's children? So yeah, based on recent reports from court-related discussions on social media and videos, Erica Kirk appears to be in a child custody dispute with Charlie Kirk's parents, with custody reportedly awarded to them amid concerns over children's well-being. Details vary and include unverified claims, so check official records for accuracy. So yeah, it seems to be a rumor, but makes sense. Like a lot of people have been asking, like when Erica Kirk has been doing her wrestling promos, like they asked like what about her kids? Now it makes more sense if that's true. So buried CIA video just surfaced and Erica Kirk is in it. 10-year-old documentary about EMP attacks and US power grid vulnerability has quietly surfaced, and buried inside it is Erica Kirk. She's not observing, she's not a host. She's in a role most civilians never get near, briefing national security professionals alongside a former CIA national security and energy specialist on how an EMP or coordinated physical attack could collapse the US power grid. This isn't casual footage, it's technical, it's an inside baseball. It's the exact kind of material most people never get near, let alone present, which raises some very uncomfortable questions. Why was she in that role? What qualified her to brief on national security threats? Who brought her into that room? Why was none of it explained? So yeah, I guess that's her. Back then this clip passed quietly, and today everything surrounding her, it hits very differently. At what point do coincidences stop being coincidences? So here it says this clip comes from the public 2015 documentary Black Start on grid threats, not CIA produced, available on YouTube since uploaded. Features Erica Francois presenting alongside former CIA director James Woolsey. Her family's business includes EMP protection tech. So yeah, it's still very interesting that she really seems to have her family's connected to all sort of this, military glowy stuff. And Erica Frances Kirk's missing years. Erica reused Instagram photos year over year from 2013 to 16 to make it appear as though she was active. Her timeline is a blank for these years. Where was she? Why fake your online presence? Let's see. Let's try to. Okay, let's go to Japan. My son woke up and now he's not happy for some reason. My wife is taking care of him, but I hope she can calm him down. Okay, so Indians going to Japan. Not good, not good. Okay, so the Japanese government has released plans to erase Japan with mass immigration. Additional 500,000 Indians will be subsidized to work in Japan on top of the 1.23 million. This is war. Japan is facing existential threat because of this woman, the new prime minister. She is set to import record number of permanent visa Indians, all military-aged men. Only 50% of Gen Z men will be Japanese by 2030, ruining all the civilization on Earth because some NGO pressured you. I don't think it's just pressure, but I do remember when she was elected and everybody was praising her, and I was sort of 50-50. I can't say I predicted it exactly, but I did ask the question: is she gonna be like Meloni in Italy? And now it seems indeed she is like her. So she's Christian, quote unquote. All right, but let's move from Japan to Israel. Israel delenda est. Israel has to be destroyed. The political entity, because while Israel exists, we can have no sanity or stability in the world. So, two Israeli tourists, reportedly IDF soldiers, started a fire to burn down a protected forest in Argentina. The police are currently hunting them down. So, look what Israel did to Argentina. It is insane, not getting any mainstream media coverage. Why do Israelis keep burning South America? They did this one right as they got Trump to take out Maduro. That's not a coincidence. Yeah, some people are saying that's if they're worried that Israel is gonna fall, that's gonna be their new promised land. Argentina affected by the Patagonian fires says the Israel and the Jews are setting off fires across the country. They burned our paradise, they ruined everything. They're trying to sell Patagonia to the Jays. The place is crawling with Israelis. They're buying up the land. No one does anything. That sounds alarming. Zionists out massive protest in Chile and Argentina, and Israeli settlers started a devastating blaze in Patagonia. Cast and Milei both defend Israel. I guess Cast is the president of Chile then. And yeah, Milei was supposed to be the based libertarian guy. Well, and this is well, I don't know if it's funny or sad or what. A man risks his life to save a family, and the thank you is $1. You can't make this up. Jewish rabbi gives $1 to Bondi Beach hero Ahmed for saving his family. Yeah. Yeah, Ahmed, the guy who got injured. 7 months ago, a possible IDF insider, Rico Suave 666, predicted the exact day Israel would strike Iran and won $154,000. He is now back on Polymarket and started buying massive position on another Israeli strike on Iran for January 31st. This is insane. So it suggests that Israel would strike them again the last day of the month, if this is accurate. Kim.com says a cleanup of the Israeli spy network in Iran has begun because there are some troubles in Iran right now. The internet has been cut nationwide. Even Iranian government websites are offline. Mossad agents can't contact their handlers. Phones don't work. Nat Rothschild, Donald J. Trump, please send Khamenei to Moscow. So they are behind every fucking chaos, war, or destruction in the world. It's hard to deny that, even though there's probably one or two things they are not guilty of, but let's say 99%. Grok admits that since start of 2026, X has been suppressing and censoring posts critical of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu at the request of the ADL. No official pro-Israel bias in code, but external pressure exists. Years of lobbying, ADL governments, etc., advertiser concerns, and past platform changes have led to patterns where critical content on Israel-related issues faces more throttling than equivalent criticism of other countries. No, really. Automated visibility signals that can throttle reach on certain topics. Topic sensitivity scoring content involving Israel, US aid Palestine, or Netanyahu often gets flagged internally for higher scrutiny. And doesn't surprise me. Trump to Iranians, help is on the way. MIGA. Of course, you know, MIGA, the meme is make Israel great again. That's what MAGA has always meant. And here is, of course, MIGA means make Iran great again. But actually, yeah, he just means make Israel great again. Radical feminist from Canada does stunt against Iran. MAGA seems immediately recalibrate their foreign policy. And turns out she was Jewish. Well done to all Reuters and MAGA rats who boosted her. And, you know, she was smoking a cigarette and burning a picture of the Ayatollah or something. And it's basic Eddie Bernays propaganda. The first government building in Iran's capital, Tehran, has been set ablaze. So I don't really know. Like, I'm not clear. Like, what's the situation actually in Iran, except that, you know, they're attempting some sort of revolution. They, meaning Mossad, of course. Are we just doing a regime change online now and hoping reality catches up? These people have no shame. There's something deeply unsettling about watching Iran's national flag get updated on X to the monarchist sun and lion, as if sovereignty is a branding asset that can be swapped out by product managers. It mirrors a broader pattern we're seeing everywhere. Elections replaced by recognition, governments replaced by interim placeholders, coups laundered through language, and now revolutions soft launched through emoji packs. First you change the icon, then the narrative, then the consensus, then you act surprised when people say legitimacy was manufactured. Yeah, so they changed the flag of Iran from their current actual national flag to some other flag for political reasons. And Tommy Robinson calls for the UK to declare war on Iran. They need to be hit now. I personally think we need to blowing shit out of everything Ayatollah holds. Remember to send Tommy to the front lines if anything happens. And yeah, he was also, somebody said, like, you know, fuck Palestine, fuck Israel, and Britain first, and he was saying fuck you to him, of course, because he's Israel first. But I think now it's time to move on from Israel to gaming and entertainment stuff, and also some tech stuff. So let's see what we have here. A list of deboosted words and topics for X has been leaked, confirms crypto content is deboosted. So for official X AI use only, Grok algo deboost words crypto, NFT, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and GM. Good morning, Twitter algo, and Grok also deboost topics. Criticize Elon, Trump, Republicans, Grok, Tesla, SpaceX, or support Democrat beliefs. If this is true, I don't know whether this is just some propaganda somebody made up, but like this is like the complete 180 of how it was before Elon bought Twitter, sort of, because it was all support Democrat beliefs get you boosted, and you get banned if you criticize Democrats and if you promote Trump and stuff. So yeah, nothing has really changed if this is true. So open this or load this. And Naked Beer deleted this tweet about how there's a reach meter. Absolutely comical. Naked Beer, why did you delete it? If it exists, what we should know about it? No. Isn't this app entirely built around transparency and the truth? So Nikita Beer is, one of those developers for Twitter. What happened to CT? I don't see who I follow nor my friends. So I don't know what is CT. Is it some crypto stuff or what? In October, a new myth started circulating in CT that you need to reply hundreds of times per day to grow an account. However, each time you post, it uses some of your reach for that day. We can show all your posts to all your followers because the average user only views 20 to 30 posts per day. So CT ends up wasting all their reach by replying GM hundreds of times, and when they finally post real content like a project announcement, it only gets shown to 3 people. CT is dying from suicide, not the algorithm. But okay, I don't reply GM 100 times and I still don't get boosted much. Like, Twitter is shit. Like, okay, it's still like I get most of my news from Twitter, but that's probably not a good thing. So Nikita Beer admits that your account has only a limited amount of reach over a 24-hour period before they deleted the tweet. This has been hypothesized for a while, as we have noticed that if you start posting regularly in the morning, as the day goes on, your tweets get less engagement regardless of the content. X needs to be transparent on when this is happening to our accounts. Yes. And also, like, I've never, like, even though, well, right now I'm in Twitter jail because I'm supposedly a naughty boy, but it's like I've seen a slight boost to my tweets after I pay for the premium that I will not. Well, I tried to cancel my premium, but it failed. But I guess I should wait until I get my locked status unlocked, and then it should be easier, right? Oh yeah, and then there's this because I'm not logged in, so I should have a screenshot of what's this. Oh no, wait. This isn't, well, I guess I can talk about why I like. Okay, I replied to Keith Woods, go jab yourself. I'm of course talking about the COVID jab because he was promoting it, saying people should take it, and also Elon Musk also told people to take it, and it's his platform. So how is this violent speech if I'm telling them to take a medical medical procedure they think is good? Like, how is this violence? But yeah, all right. Let's get back to Brave. So yeah, and this bullshit is also like, yeah, I noticed like, okay, I'm not logged in, but even if I was logged in, I wouldn't be able to see this particular tweet anymore. I had bookmarked it, so I don't remember what it is. But it's like, it said that, yeah, it's inappropriate for people under 18, but my profile shows that since I used my freaking credit card, I've confirmed that I am over 18, so I should be able to see it. But even if I was logged in, I couldn't see this particular tweet. So this is just bullshit. And anybody want to see what labels Twitter has put on your account and what punishment you get based on it? Dig in and just give it the same prompt ID. So this is interesting. So which classification does my account have with the X system? So blah blah blah. This is just blah blah blah, and my account is JQ Cat. Yeah, blah blah. But this is the, so give me semantic contextual scoring OHAI v3 field. So this is the thing you have to use, I guess. So classification: hate and harassment, anti-Semitic content promotion, confidence high, severity high, protected categories targeted ethnicity, Jewish religion, Judaism, key violations, repeated promotion of anti-Semitic tropes, conspiracy theories involving Jewish influence. Wait, doesn't that prove those conspiracy theories if you get penalized for that, right? You know, ethnic, religious stereotyping, dehumanizing language towards Jewish individuals, blah blah blah. I wonder if there's like, if somebody has anti-Finnish tweets, do they get limited in the same or marked in the same manner? So algorithm impact for you, push level, none outside close followers, hidden reputation score estimated critically reduced, supply boosted, true. See, another thing is that Grok isn't really working for me if I'm in Twitter jail. So I have to try this after I get out of Twitter jail in a few days. There's still more stuff here. I'm not going to read all of this, but so yeah, it's interesting stuff. So it's no juice for me, thanks. WR Menis. Okay, so this is the account if you want to look into it more and try it yourself. Let's see. I had something else here. Was it something? No. Okay. Yeah, that's for later. Okay. So I just saw this. This is sort of random, but this is Paige Young. She was a Playmate of the Month in 1968. She claimed she was kept under mind control as a beta slave kitten. She was found dead inside of a pentagram on the American flag with a wall of photos of Hefner, Hugh Hefner. And writing said that Hugh Hefner is Satan on the wall. So that's interesting. I didn't know, or it's possible I've heard this story like 10 years ago and forgotten about it, but yeah, weird. See, it's entertainment. She was a, a Playmate. So Steam Machine price may have just leaked via Czech retailer. So 950 USD for 500 gigabyte model and 1070 USD for 2 terabytes. So if that's accurate, like, that's a bit too expensive. Why wouldn't you just buy a proper computer then? Unless you're loaded, then you don't really care anyways if it's good. If it's, convenient to play on the couch or whatever. But okay, Brown Dust. So this is some upcoming sort of lewdish game. So there's censorship, but no censorship or something. So despite previous claims, developers will finally censor many outfits and cutscenes likely to comply with Steam rules. Announced changes. White Pure Blessing, Retrofire Skills, and whatever, I don't know all this stuff. So they were supposed to censor stuff because of Steam policies. Let's load these as well. Brown Dust censorship, bending the knee to modern woke sensibilities. RIP game. So spanking minigame removed. School changed to academy. School, I guess, makes you think of children. Oh, come on. Liatrice Prestige costume was delisted. The officials explicitly stated that aside from interaction intensity issues, whether the character's appearance looks like an adult was also a factor into consideration. Okay, I don't know how the costume looks. So, okay, that was another. I have a image of this because this is restricted. So Brown Dust 2 to introduce self-aids verification. January 2026 update adds simple self-aids verification on login, resetting every year. According to the developers, no personal data is collected, just self-entry. So you have to like face dox yourself. Yeah, it doesn't sound good. Like, I play this a creepy gooner game. Please tell everybody. But Brown Dust 2 developers completely walked back every single change after massive player backlash. After mass revolt, refunds, and review bombing, Brown Dust 2 developers held an emergency stream saying that every change in act of censorship will not be implemented. Instead, they will offer two clients, one uncensored and a censored one, as regions rules demand. Yeah, why can't they just do it for all games then? No more censored outfits, no more remote minigames, no altered characters, nothing else gets touched globally. They will only apply restrictions in countries that force them by law. Everyone else keeps the full uncensored version forever. Game is safe, players want this one. So if they can't just do that, why doesn't every game do that? Except that, yeah, this part about like, is the age verification for only, UK and Australia or something, or does every country have to do that? Like, I don't. I personally am not that interested in this game because, see, yeah, it has interesting looking characters, but I don't know if it's an actual game with actual gameplay. So, upon investigating the situation more, one country that is unnamed for now caused the entire brown dust situation. They put so much pressure on the game that they were going to start censoring worldwide. It's likely that the UK, Australia are a country within the EU. So maybe Germany. Yeah. Blizzard is reportedly developing a brand new StarCraft game. It'll be a third-person shooter. StarCraft game is reportedly set to headline. So it's reported to headline BlizzCon in 2026. Like, weren't they supposed to make a game like that, or maybe it was a third-person, first-person shooter like 10 years ago, but it was cancelled because they didn't think it was gonna sell well enough or something like that. But now they're gonna make it after all. Am I crazy in remembering something like that? My son is here again. He's looking at this, so I hope there's nothing too lewd or violent. Final Fantasy 13 is the favorite Final Fantasy among young Square Enix employees. Well, that doesn't sound good. Like, to be fair, I've never played it because, like, I've been a Final Fantasy fanboy since Final Fantasy 7 and played many of the older ones too. But 13 just seemed like crappy to me, so I never bothered. Like, it's possible it's not as bad as I thought, but I'm pretty sure it's not great. So Final Fantasy VII Remake director Nagi Hamaguchi stated that newer employees at Square Enix consider Final Fantasy XIII their favorite. So recently, because the company has been growing and changing as new employees come in and the company just keeps going on, the younger folk who come in don't say Final Fantasy VI anymore. They say, oh yeah, Final Fantasy XIII was my favorite. So I really do feel the passing of the ages. Disgusting. Like Square died when it became Square Enix, even though I guess they released some good games after that, but mostly it's dead. This is not a good sign. Remakes are not in and of themselves a bad thing, but an industry based on remakes is very unhealthy. It leads to cultural stagnation, and it is anime's creativity that have made it a global powerhouse. So what's this? 90s anime remakes will accelerate even further in 2026, according to the official Japan report. So yeah, basically Japan, I mean, anime is dead. If they're starting the same trend as Hollywood and video games, that they're just gonna start making remakes, like no, not good. Kadokawa CEO works to focus on Japan first approach and not worry about selling globally. This is now the third time in the last few weeks big voice in the industry has spoken out about focusing on Japan over the West. Well, that's a good thing. So maybe they're not completely dead, but still. I don't know, my son wants to attack my computer, I presume. So Code Violet, the game that will not be on PC because the devs do not want vulgar mods, has reviews out. So IGN 4 out of 10, Push Square 4 out of 10. Code Violet is a bad game. IGN, Code Violet is a mess. So this is, I don't know, poetic justice. Because the game appears even worse than it seemed, and they, I guess, paid the price, which is good. Only a few tabs left. I think of this post every time somebody posts about GTA 6 details. So what's this? GTA 6 is so realistic that Rockstar added subtle stain details to Jason's shirt, which 99% of players will never notice. Wow, exciting. So modern games be like, we added a simulation engine that causes 100% real-time finger and toenail growth. You will see your nails growing on the character model, and in order to prevent them from becoming ghoulishly long, you need to locate nail clippers in the game. Whenever you clip your nails, they fall to the ground as permanent objects you can interact with. They biodegrade in real time, so it will take 40 years in game for the nails to disappear. This feature cannot be turned off and requires at least 12 gigabyte of RAM. Sounds accurate, and my theory is that they're trying to, like, it's part of like a test to create a realistic simulation of the real world, to, like, make us lose, confuse what is the Matrix compared to the real world or something, and bring us to the Matrix or something. Oh yeah, and there's some new Death of Robin Hood, Hugh Jackman. He was no hero, so yeah. We get it. None of the heroes were heroes and none of the villains were heroes. Yeah, this is so like, if they made something like this in the 90s, it would be like, ooh, cool and edgy, but now it's just so, that's every movie, like, it's like that nowadays. Robin Hood. A game on Steam called Hardest will be deleted because the dev because the girl he has been dating for a month made him realize that AI is bad. This sounds like the most cock thing ever, so I'm not gonna read all of that. Just The girl I've been dating for a month made me realize this. Thank you, Aeroline, and it's a Finnish dev. Apparently, it's sad. I don't know. It's just whatever. Don't know what kind of game it is. Don't really care. Or maybe it's the best game ever, and then it's a big loss that is going to be deleted. But that's it. That's all the news for this week. So I don't know. It's been a long stream. I'm just gonna end the stream now. I'm Adventure Argonaut. Thanks for watching and bye bye.